Hello, this is Ambient Flash and welcome to my second Photoshop basic tutorial. In this tutorial I'm gonna explain you how you can create layer, make a selection and telling you about the adjustment layers. I have an image and the image is now in the background. If you want to make background into the layer, you will need to right click on it and select layer from background. To duplicate your work so you can start over from the beginning if you need, just duplicate the layer just in case. Adjustment layers. Here is the list of all these adjustment layers you can add. And if I want these adjustment layers to affect on a certain layer, I first need to make a selection and make it into the layer. There is many tools to make selections. Lasso tools, polygonal lasso, pen tool, and there is some quick selection tool and magic wand tool. Usually it's if I make some sharp selections I use the pen tool, but in this case, because it's going to be just for showing, I will use quick selection tool and I will fix the selection with the lasso tool afterwards. I will zoom in the image and I start selecting the yellow car here. You need to have the brush size and the plus sign over here. If I select the minus sign, I can make it smaller the selection. But first you can make a rough selection with around the car. It can be something like this over here and here. Okay, and what I meant using the lasso tool to fix my selection, if I take the lasso tool here, select this one, I can make more selections. If I take this one here, it needs subtract from selection. It means I can make my selection smaller. In this case I will use first this subtract and I will make here a rough selection around the car like here. Now it subtracts the selection smaller. Also if I make a little bit more. And for these lines I need to make it larger, so you will select the here and you will just simply draw line here where you want it to make a larger selection. Okay, let me say this will be enough good for this kind of selection because it's just a rough example. Now I want to make this car in the new layer. I have lasso tool selected and this layer is selected. I will right click and layer via copy. Now there is layer 1 and if I hide the background you see what I mean. Now there is the car and it's a really rough selection there, and I can name this yellow car. Okay, next let's select a background layer again. If you use quick selection tool you need to have the right layer selected. And one very good tip, if you like to draw some lines or whatever in the Photoshop, you hold down the R key, it gives you icon, you can rotate the whole image. This is very good if you want to make like certain way of the brushing or whatever. And if you want to return it, you can click on here and just click on a 0, enter, and you are back. It doesn't make any effect, it just turns the whole project. Here is the icon to add new adjustment layer. The first one is solid color. You can change easily the color. Apply, clicking OK. You can lower the opacity. Or you can change here the layer mode. If you change it into the color, it makes nice color effect into the image. Or if you want to apply the adjustment layer into the one layer, you can right click on an adjustment layer and select create clipping mask, and it will affect on a layer which is below this adjustment layer. Gradient, you can actually make the layer now top of every layer here. The gradient fill, you can select how the gradient goes, what's the angle, the scale. You can see here how the scale works. And if you click on here, there is an option, so you can select the color. Here you see the selection now, it has these squares, and they are meaning it's a transparent. One color into the transparent. If I click here, and I select, let's say, green, now it makes gradient color from green to transparent. And you can select that there is a slider here. It now shows how much green and how much it goes into transparent. Then you go for pattern. It's something I very rarely need to make any kind of a pattern in the image. You can load there more patterns if you want. The next is brightness and contrast. And if it's overall here and there is no arrow, it will affect every layer which are below the adjustment layer. And here opens the brightness and contrast sliders. Next there is levels. The levels, it's pretty much the same, but you can select some kind of color and it will affect on differently. There's curves. There is also color picking possibility, and there is this, you can drag here, or you can make more points and drag from these points, and it will change the overall exposure. Vibrance. The vibrance, it's actually not familiar with the right terms, but it's like the overall color, how much you will see these colors. There's hue, saturation, color balance. You can drag the sliders and it will affect on the overall colors. Here we have black and white. And every adjustment layer has a layer mask, and the layer mask you see on a layer, the white box. When you click on a white box, the layer mask is active. And I select the black color and the brush. I can reveal some parts of the colors. And if I select white color instead of the black, it makes it back into black and white. The X is the quick command of changing these colors, and when I color to white, it makes it back. If I want the cars to be in colors, I will make new black and white adjustment layer in the top of the background, and I will hide the one in upper. Now the cars are only in colors. Next we have a photo filter. The photo filter is very good if you want to make an overall color effect into the image. So I will have photo filter here, right double click, here opens, there is a warming filter, and there is a list of filters. They are in different kind of colors. Let's take like blue, and like drag it in the top of everything, and more with this density, it will affect more to making the blue in this image. And let's make a small fast effect in this image using the black and white, and I will make a blur into the background using the filter, blur, and Gaussian blur. And let's make a small blur into these all three cars in the filter, blur, and motion blur. This is Ambient Flash. See you in the next video.